Hey, what's up everybody? Jake here and welcome to the hobby. We are here today and we're going to do some fun stuff, just Rob and I.
What's up?
And what we're going to be doing is that I asked you guys to list some of your favorite cards that you might think is either underrated or overrated.
Ooh,
Most
nice.
of you guys brought up underrated cards. And we'll throw in our spicy opinion whether we think you guys are right or not.
Sure.
You're down for that?
Yeah.
All right. I got some good ones, and these are straight from the commenters.
Jake has told me nothing. I have no prep, no information, so I'm curious what he's going to say.
We got some fun stuff. I haven't read these either, so I'm reading the comments right now with you guys. So we got Hot Reels who asks, every card in Crown Zenith is underrated, best set ever. Would you agree or disagree?
Okay, I guess if we have like a strongly disagree, neutral,
Sure.
agree, strongly. I don't know if I agree with that statement in the sense that people are sleeping on CZ right now.
Are they sleeping on Crown Zenith? That's
They
a hot
are.
take.
It's the last Sword and Shield set.
Okay.
It's kind of the last set. Well, it's the last yellow border set ever. That's impactful. And the alt arts are a mixture of like you have art rares and then you have like the textured, like what would be from the Japanese VMAX Climax, the CSRs. And there's so many different ones. And then you have the gold, like Arceus, Palkia, Dialga, Giratina.
Okay.
So
let's just keep it straightforward. Would you say it's underrated or overrated right now?
I think it's underrated.
Wow. All right, that's interesting because I cannot say it's underrated. I won't say it's underrated. It's overrated either. I would say it's in the middle because everyone loves Crown Zenith. Everyone loves Crown Zenith. It's hard for me to say it's underrated when everyone's collecting it. It's a great set.
If everyone was collecting it, or if it was like, then more packs would be getting opened up.
They
feel
are.
like you don't ever hear that being talked about.
I think Crown Zenith is like the hot set right now. And even though Scarlet and Violet... Yeah, you don't think so?
151 or Twilight Masquerade is the hot set right now, right?
151 is like unbeatable.
Watch all of chat back.
151 is unbeatable, but like obviously Crown Zenith is right up there too.
I mean, it should be, but I think it's not. I think people are focused on Twilight Masquerade right now.
Okay, well,
even Temporal and Paldea Evolved, like as far as...
Well, I mean, Crown Zenith's been out for like 2 years, so like there's a limit to how much hype you can have for an older set.
Has it really been out for 2 years?
I know, isn't that ridiculous?
That seems way too long.
Okay.
To me. That's wild.
All right, next one up. Psyduck and Slowpoke everything. Especially the Slowpoke and Psyduck tag teams are underrated. Would you agree?
I agree with him. I agree with that. I don't know about Psyduck and Slowpoke everything. But
he clearly has a type and a favorite.
He likes, Psyduck and Slowpoke. So, of course, he's going to love that tag team card. I would say, though, with the recent kind of Sun and Moon, people going back and collecting those first alt arts before they even called them alt arts, that Psyduck Slowpoke tag team is kind of underrated.
Okay, and I brought this up recently, but I love Misty Psyduck. I talked about that recently. And the voice actress for Misty just passed away recently. And I've noticed there's already a spike in Misty autograph cards. Those are going up in value. And that's very common for a card of an autographed person to go up in value when they pass away, because obviously they can no longer sign additional cards. So it is kind of an interesting element to collecting that I wanted to bring up. I will actually say
be the focus though.
I will actually say I would agree. They are underrated right now, just because I love Slowpoke and Psyduck. They're unique, they're goofy, and that's kind of an element that is I think sorely lacking in some Pokemon cards. Like we're too focused on cool cards and not enough on goofy cards, and I love goofy cards.
That is true. You know what? That's a good point. I do feel like when they make a Psyduck card, there's like more artistic.
There's freedom to it. Yeah.
to make the Psyduck card very funny or goofy.
Yeah. All right. Here's an interesting one. Let's see if you agree with it.
Okay.
Julian says, I think the XY era in total is underrated. XY era. So we're talking about XY base all the way to, there's some set in here, XY Evolution, XY Flash Fires, and the break cards were in XY era. Do you think they're underrated?
Yes. These are all smart people we're talking about.
Goodness.
I agree, and I'm being honest. I'm not pandering. I would disagree if I felt like I disagreed. But when you look at, I'll say it even like this. You saw the spike in Sun and Moon prices. Sun and Moon was before the boom. So was XY. But it's like what XY stuff there is out there.
It's very few. There's not a lot of XY.
Well, I mean, XY Evo is still obtainable. And there's still sets
XY
in
Evo
XY.
is the hottest one, obviously.
Well, right, but there's Fates Collide, there's Breakthrough, there's Breakpoint.
Do you like the break cards? Let's talk about them because they're like special to the XY area.
I think they look cool. I think if we're talking about something way underrated, in the sense that I don't think they deserve to be higher than some cards we're looking at now, like alt arts and stuff. But the fact that some of the break points or the break cards go for $1, $2, $4 tops for a hit, technically what is like a secret rare hit in the box is completely undervalued.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would say the XY era, it's a real love-hate relationship for me. I wouldn't say they're underrated. So there's
the megas.
Yeah, the megas.
And
were
the
cool.
megas are underrated. And this is what's going to happen. Mark my words. Pokemon Legends ZA is going to come back. They bring back megas because everyone loves megas, and yet for the cards, we don't appreciate the mega evolutions like we say we do compared to all the tag teams and alt arts.
Sure.
Those cards are just as hard to hit. Arguably, there's less of it because it's not like it was reprinted the way Tail End, Sun and Moon
Pokemon
stuff
ZA
was.
could bring a new popularity.
Resurgence in megas,
And the megas are cool. I would say the megas are the coolest part of XY.
I agree.
There are parts of XY that I think were small blunders. I don't think the break cards look super great, especially now. They look kind of dated due to their kind of CG gold art style. It's just not as good as the illustration rares.
I agree.
And there are good things inside of it. I would say XY brought us full art trainers, and
those are cool.
Those are cool. They really hit their stride in Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
The XY full art trainers can be a little bit ugly, so it just depends. If you love XY, that's completely fine.
Did you just say XY?
Full art trainers.
Wait, there's full art trainers before XY.
Yeah, less so. The XY really brought like the full stride in it.
Oh, okay. Did they? Okay. But there were ones before.
Of course.
Right.
We've had full art trainers for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? One thing I'll say, especially with XY, just as a whole though, it's kind of like when you look at the booster box prices and just how easy it is to it's a full another set before Sun and Moon, yet it's like on par. There's like expensive XY boxes, and they're the same as the expensive Sun and Moon boxes, and the cheap ones and the cheap ones. But it's like for being another 3-4 years back, it should be more expensive because it's had another 3 or 4 years of life of people opening it and stuff.
Okay. We have a lot of like really great questions, and I'm trying to find some that are just one card because we're talking about whole entire eras, and that's hard to analyze. So that's why some of these we're taking long answers because it's a lot to dissect.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw in some quick ones. So rapid fire. We don't have to super think about these.
Go for it.
All right. Lugia V Alt art. Do you think it's a great pickup right now? Underrated or overrated? Lugia V Alt art from, I'm assuming, Silver Tempest.
Right. I would say right now it's a little bit overrated.
Sure. That's fair. It's a very expensive card.
And yeah, I mean,
there's still a lot of Silver Tempest out there.
There's still a lot of Silver Tempest out there. A lot that you can rip and pull that card, and where the price is, I think it could come down a little bit, just like how the Moonbryon has come down a little bit. It has gone down a little bit recently. Recently.
Which is good.
It had peaked too much.
I would agree. I think it's also a little bit overrated. I think that's completely fair. I don't love the art, and that's just because Lugia V is like a little bit more somber, gloomy art, and I'm into colorful art. So it's an absolute give or take. If you love the card, there's never a wrong time to pick up your favorite card.
Yeah, I think it's a very cool artwork. Okay, looks beautiful, but it could be cooler. Sure. There's like
Next one up, we got the Eevee Illustration Rare from Twilight. Hugeness says it's being overlooked by the Greninja, in my opinion. Do you think the Eevee Illustration Rare is underrated or overrated?
I don't think it's being overlooked.
It is a very popular card.
Right, and
it's going to be hard for it to be Greninja EX.
Well, right, and it's just a Eevee. It's a basic Pokemon, other than Pikachu, unless you're a starter. I mean, people love Eevee, don't get me wrong, but the art rare is just a bunch of Eevees in a photo.
It's not bad. Let's be honest here, it's like a $50 illustration rare. That is not underrated.
Right, and that's about where... Right, see, I'm like... that's my neutral. I don't think it's overrated. I don't think it's underrated. I think it's sitting right where it should be, kind of.
Because Eevee is popular, and it will be obviously one of the most popular illustration rare.
I like, fun fact, the amount of Eevees in it. There's an Eevee to evolve into each.
Yes, we talked about that. There's been like mythos about which Eevee is the one that evolves into each one. I don't think that there's
based on like where they're sitting or how they're smiling.
Yeah, I'm serious. All right. Here's some fun one. Are tag team cards from Sun and Moon sets too high of a price? So they're asking if it's overrated.
They all spiked up a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're kind of getting the respect they deserved.
They are one of the best gimmicks.
If you talked to me a year ago, I would have said they were underrated. And that's because I was like, oh, these are going cheap. And if you talked to me 2.5, 3 years ago, I remember when people were making fun of the tag teams. Like, the look of these. This is a gimmick. And now people love the tag team arts. Other than like maybe Latios and Latios.
Very interesting. So you're saying they're a little bit overrated right now.
I think a little bit overrated right now.
And we love tag team too.
Right. But you know what? It's because I think for a long portion of time, they were underrated. People all saw that, acted very quickly, and kind of, bounced it real high. And so it's like bounced into this ozone of overratedness. But hopefully it settles down, and then it should be right where it deserves to be.
We talked about some of the expensive tag team GX cards. There's some like even regular ultra rare versions that are very expensive right now.
Yeah.
So they're up there. Oh my god, we got some really fun ones. Here's one. Jesse asks, do you think the Grunt Pikachu, I'm assuming this is the cosplay Pikachu, is super expensive but nice? Do you think it's overrated or underrated? It's a Pikachu promo, so this is really out there.
Yeah, I mean, it is super expensive. Those grade well. I've seen a couple of black labels of those get graded, and I've seen the ones that deserve to be black labels. It's a very cool card in a black label because the cosplay is black. I think it's probably sitting right where it needs to be, just based on demand. I mean, a lot of people try to collect one of each poncho, and that's just going to be a thing. Pikachu's super popular, and that's a unique kind of I wouldn't even say gimmick, but just how, like an alt art, you can't pull it. It's a cool promo card.
I would agree with that, because
collect.
I would think they are priced very well. They're not cheap. They're not super expensive either.
Right.
They're right where they should be, and they're not going to spike up in value anytime soon. Yeah. The market for those are like very straightforward. Yeah. Those cards are never going to spike up in value, but they're never going to like crash in value either.
Right. Yeah, because if one dropped to 400 or 500 and a 10. I'd buy them at that point.
If they get
someone higher than me, if they drop to under 1,000, there'd be someone being like, "Oh, I'll trade $1,000 every time, and I'll just keep picking them up."
That's why some cards are super expensive, because if Mario Pikachu ever drops to
below
a certain level,
amount, someone will just scoop it.
Yeah. All right, so here's a fun one because it's a little bit different.
Okay.
Mitsuhiro Arita signed cards. Do you think they're underrated or overrated? Very interesting, because I have a take on this.
I have a take too. I think it's a complicated. What's the best way I could say this? My personal opinion, and so I can't say definitively either one way or another. I think right now they're a little overrated because there's just so much stuff going on with signatures. It's also like I do feel like there's a lot of people that collect but maybe don't care about the signatures at all.
Yeah.
So it really only affects this like small fraction of the collecting community.
Okay. We actually completely agree on this one.
Well, right.
I think that they're a little bit overrated too.
Right. But and then that's why I was saying it's it's like a yes and a no.
Okay.
In the long run, in the sense that Arita won't be around for forever.
Sure.
And it's kind of historical what he's drawn and the characters that now it's iconic, some of his pieces of art. So when I think 100 years, 20 years from now, 50, to have a Charizard with Arita signature on it, that's pretty cool.
I think it's pretty cool.
When you think about art in history, like if you had a Van Gogh with Van Gogh's signature on it, if you have any piece of iconic art with an artist's signature on it, it's cool.
there's so much that goes into this one. I would say if you think it's super cool, that's absolutely fine. The reason I would also agree and say it's just a little bit overrated is because personally, I don't know Mitsuhiro Arita. I love his art and I'm a fan, obviously, but I don't really know him that well for me to admire him to want his autograph. And if that's you, that completely makes sense. To me personally, that's not where I'm coming from. I will admire the art just fine. I don't need the autograph.
Real nice in Hawaii.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
met
not
him in person? That's cool.
Yeah, right. But it's not like we got to have a long conversation. But see, even beyond him, like assuming he, is a nice person day to day, it's like just off the strength of everything he's drawn, including the OG Charizard. And to see him, like, I got a sig of his on one of my Charizards, and he drew, like, a sketch.
I think that's
on
cool.
it too.
I think if you get a personal autograph to you, that's so meaningful.
It's got my name on it.
But I would personally not just buy a graded Mitsuhiro autograph card.
True. I haven't... Right. Like, if you really need to get one because you don't have access to getting one, and you really like that, you can do that. But I really like mine because I saw him do it in person. It's personal.
Yeah, that's completely different. All right, we have a lot more interesting questions, and some of these are ones that, of course, you and I collect ourselves. So here's one. Nice. Not Sappy asks, the Jolteon, Vaporeon, Flareon VMAX Premium Collection boxes have a set of 3 of them for $370, and they have a chance to pick up another for $300. What do you think? Underrated or overrated? $300 for a set of 3? I don't know.
That's $100 each. I say you jump on that because they're not going to get any cheaper than that.
Sure, they are really cool.
They will not go down from that number. So if you want them, and this is what people need to understand about value. I see so many people what is going to be harder for you to acquire those 3 boxes again in your life or acquire another $300 again in your life? And that's how you kind of dictate value.
Sure.
I mean, the fact that the items used to be $40 each retail is insane. For 2 alt arts that are beautiful that you can't pull from any set. So I think it's the fact that, whenever they make alt art promos and Pokemon product, you never know what's gonna. I mean, they're Eeveelutions, but they're also just the arts are really cool, and you need them to complete the whole Eeveelution alt art line.
Sure.
Of which the Moonbreon, the Sylveon VMAX, the Leafeon,
if you want to
the
collect them all, you have to
Glaceon
get them
VMAX, all those from Evolving Skies are all top tier cards, are all priced very high. So it's like, the Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, those are the OGs.
This is where I would say it almost like it depends. He already has a set, which I think factors into it a little bit. If you already have a set, do you really need a copy? And that's going to be up to you. But if you don't have the singles, go ahead and like crack the first boxes open, enjoy them because they have Evolving Skies packs inside of them too. Yeah, and then you can keep the second one sealed. So it's going to be up to you, but those are great. Those are great. I would say they're a little bit underrated. They're the best promos that we've seen in a long time.
They're great. Yeah, they're great looking cards. I want to personally have a full set of them. Yeah.
Sure. All right, let's do another fun one. Ooh, okay, here we have a fun one. Okay. And Raymond asks, are Pokemon Center ETBs overrated?
Oh, that is a good one.
Yeah, because now there's a Pokemon there's a new Pokemon Center ETB of every single new set now.
I have to be honest with myself.
Okay.
And I have the largest ETB wall in the world.
You do.
No one else can challenge me.
Okay.
Although I'm sure some people have larger walls.
You have like 1 ETBs of every single ETB.
I'm missing like 4 or 5 of the early ones.
That's still.
I'm close to having them all.
Yeah.
Them all.
If you want every single version of every ETB, you have to collect the Pokemon Center.
You have to include the Pokemon Center ones. So I think they're cool. I do realize there's a large part of the collecting hobby that maybe doesn't care. This is why it's a great. It's Pokemon's fault.
Okay,
and people will agree. This is why. When they first introduced the Pokemon Center ETBs, we were all like, oh, this is a gimmick, so you gotta buy the regular one and the Pokemon Center one. But if you wanted to keep it sealed, even though the difference is really nothing about the contents inside, they put Pokemon Center on it. They want to make it an exclusive thing. Give it an exclusive artwork. And for the first 4, 5, 6... they were very different. The Evolving Skies one still features the Eeveelutions, but it's like different shaped in the sense that 20 feet away,
the
you could tell the
ETBs look
difference.
different. The ETBs are different. You're not talking about the card. You're talking about the art of
just
ETBs.
Of the actual item, the ETB.
You're saying they've gone
seal.
lazy.
Guys, 20 feet away, you have the 151 ETB with the Snorlax on it, the 151 Pokemon Center ETB. It's like the same image.
Yeah.
They change the Snorlax size by like 10%, and then they just flip
Yep.
where the 151
They've
is.
gone lazy with the Pokemon Center art.
Right. And now all the like past recent ones, it's really just the same box with like a slight tweak. It's like, yo, make an interesting, unique art box if you're gonna make it a Pokemon Center exclusive.
So
and
you're
then they'd
thinking
be better.
You're thinking overrated?
Because of that, yes.
I would also say they are overrated. It's pretty much the same thing as a normal ETB. Yeah. If you really want the Pokemon Center stamp or something like that, I guess go for it.
Yeah. But
at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's the same art. If you're a completionist, we get it. Yeah. I would agree. I say
right. In the promo inside, it just has Pokemon Center.
Yep.
Maybe make it an alt art.
Sure.
So it's a completely different promo. Then you're gonna want to open one, make the outside completely different, but still feature the same. You know how they always.
I can tell you're passionate about this because you're an ETB collector. I'm less so, but I get it.
Yeah.
If they made it a different art, make it more exclusive or something cool about it, it would be worth it to collect right now. But right now,
it would have better flair.
It's the exact
practically
same
the same thing. So why is it a different product? If I ran the Pokemon Company, I would just give it a little more flair, a little more pizzazz.
Sure.
And I think that would make it a much cooler, unique item.
All right, guys. These are been our opinions based on what you guys wanted us to talk about on terms of what's underrated and overrated. Hope you guys enjoyed it because we definitely had some hot takes. Thank you so much for watching, and let us know if you guys want more of this content, because if there's something else you want us to talk about, we can definitely do that too. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate you.